Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all, back with some more boxing talk here. As y'all know, Keith Thurman, he's still playing chess. He's still trying to make these chess moves on the outside of the ring right now. He's trying to get himself back into the mix. Still looking to become a champion again. And the tables have turned now. The tables have turned. Keith Thurman, he's now in that position trying to ask Errol Spence for a fight, but Errol Spence ain't having it. Errol Spence is on a different mission. He's looking for that Ugas fight or the Terrence Crawford fight now. Keith Thurman, he's definitely not on his radar anymore for good reason. I mean, before he wanted to fight Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman had something he wanted, which was the belts. So right now, that fight really doesn't make sense for him. So Keith Thurman, he's got to make moves out here on the outside to try to put himself in a position. And that's what he's doing right now. About a week ago, Yordenis Ugas, he went on his IG and, he brought up the fact that Keith Thurman was having a discussion with him about trying to build up a fight with Errol Spence, between Ugas and Spence. And by doing that, he should take a fight before then and face Keith Thurman. So my first thought was, okay, Keith Thurman, he's being smart here. He's being smart. He's actually trying to play chess. He's trying to manipulate Ugas, if you will, from the way it sounds like, as far as he's trying to sell him a Thurman fight. He's trying to sell himself to Ugas and say, look, the fight with me will mean more. If you beat me, it's going to build up a fight between you and Errol Spence. It'll make it a big pay-per-view event, and it'll make it more so it'll make it even more so exposure for you, Ugas. So, he's kind of putting him in that position because Ugas actually went on his Instagram and was kind of asking his fans, what he thought of the idea. Matter of fact, let me pull this up on Instagram. He said, look, Thurman has a great point in our conversation. His idea is to convince me of a fight. Supposedly, I would defeat him, and that victory of mine would elevate me and make a great pay-per-view fight afterwards against Spence. But it's ironic because I've done those accounts in the past. That's life, a roulette. Yet Thurman remains a fighter, a dangerous, fantastic, and a big name in the sport. Thoughts? So yeah, my thoughts on that situation. Like, I didn't comment at the bottom, but my thoughts on what Yordenis Ugas should do is, I think he should just say, forget that fight with Thurman. Because it's exactly like he said. It's a roulette. You're actually gambling. You're now in a position where you have the WBA welterweight belt after Manny Pacquiao was stripped. He was rewarded with it. So Ugas is actually in a better position than before. I mean, he's not going to put himself in a better position against Keith Thurman because that is a gamble. You don't know if you'll beat him or not. So now that he has a belt, he's more so worthy to fight for Errol Spence now, because Errol Spence, before, he didn't want to face Ugas because he said he's not really a big name. There's really nothing he had that he wanted. He wanted to go for Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and Manny, and the Crawford fights. So that's where his path has been. But now that Ugas has a belt, Errol Spence has kind of turned his attention to him. He's like, yeah, let's unify. So now he is in a better position than he ever was because, like he said, he's been in those positions where he fought for title eliminators, came up short. So why put yourself in that position again? Keith Thurman, he can try to sell it off this pay-per-view talk, but, I still feel like if he did beat Keith Thurman and Spence and Ugas fought, it still really wouldn't be pay-per-view worthy. I don't think it would build up Ugas' name after one fight, So right there, Keith Thurman, he's really trying to be slick and kind of use these little moves like pay-per-view, big name, elevate, defeating him. He's kind of using these little words like Thurman's just going to bow down and, give him that opportunity to build his name up. But no, man, it's still going to be a competition. And, Keith Thurman, he's going to go in there, give it his all to try to put himself in a position to fight Errol Spence Jr. now. Because you got to remember, he wants this just as much as Ugas. It's not really a position to make it feel like he's helping Ugas out here. Thurman's been behind the scenes saying, look, I want to fight Spence now. I want to get back in there. I want to be a champion again. So, Ugas has to think of all of that. And in my opinion, Ugas is in a better position now than he's ever been. He needs to go ahead and ride with it and just say, let me face Errol Spence now, because if I do beat Errol Spence, I'll have 3 belts, and then I can fight for undisputed. So this is the best position he's ever been in. Just go ahead and ride with it. Ugas, he's the oldest of the 3 fighters. He's 34 now, so you're never going to get an opportunity like that again. So you need to go in there, take on Errol Spence, because look, the closer you get to Errol Spence, that's the closer you get to winning. you putting up that roadblock called Keith Thurman in front of you, that's just going to push you back even further. Because what if Keith Thurman beats you? Then boom, you're back to square one again. Or maybe not exactly square one, but yeah. Well, yeah, you would be back at square one because, Ugas doesn't really hold a big name. So yeah, that's something he has to consider. In my opinion, I think that Ugas say, forget Keith Thurman, wait your turn. I'm going for these other two belts. Because even stylistically, if you match these two up, Keith Thurman knows that he probably could beat Ugas. I mean, Keith Thurman, he's already been a champion. He was the former Unify champion. He has a boxing style that I think would give Ugas trouble. Keith Thurman, he still has those gears that he can switch. He has those levels where he can switch it up in rounds. He can adjust a bit. He can box. He can punch a little bit. I think Ugas, he's a good boxer, but he tends to stay in the same gear for round 1 through 12, if that makes sense. I think that he stays in the same gear sometimes and doesn't really try to close the show. It was evident in a Figueroa fight. It was evident in his last fight where he won the regular belt, where he had hurt his opponent a couple times in both of these fights, but he never really stepped on the gas and tried to close the show. And when you fight guys like Thurman, you got to go in there and try to close the show. You got to go in there, hurt these guys, and get them out of there. Or you got to have different gears and switch up your rhythm. Because if you fight the same in all 12 rounds, a champion like Thurman, a champion like Spence, a champion like Crawford, they're gonna figure you out eventually. And switch up the game and adapt to whatever you're bringing. So that's what makes him champion. So you got to think of all that too. Like Thurman may not have a belt now, but he still has a championship mindset. So Ugas has to consider that and say, this guy, he used to be a champion before. He might make it hard for me, and he thinks that he can beat me. So right now he's trying to beat me on the outside of the ring by convincing me to get in there with him. Then when he gets in there, he's gonna outbox and beat me. So that's something Ugas got to just think of, man. Say, no, I'll take my road. I'm gonna go ahead and fight Errol Spence. This is what I wanted. I got a belt. It's making Errol want to fight me now. So let's do it. And like I said, in my opinion, anyway, Spence versus Ugas is not really pay-per-view worthy. Just being honest, I feel like this fight should just be televised for everybody to see it. Put it on Fox, put it on Showtime. It'll do big numbers that way. Because yeah, we rarely get a unification like this, and I think the fans need to be treated to it. And I don't think a Thurman fight would help build it up. If Ugas beat Keith Thurman, I don't think that would turn him into a pay-per-view star overnight. It still wouldn't build up Spence Ugas into a pay-per-view fight if he beat Thurman anyway. But yeah, go check out Yordenis Ugas' IG, read what he said. If you want to comment there, comment. He was kind of asking for everybody's thoughts there, but yeah, I'll read it one more time. He said, Thurman has a great point in our conversation. His idea is to convince me of a fight. Supposedly, if I defeat him, and that victory would elevate me and make a great pay-per-view fight afterwards against Spence. But it's ironic because I've done these accounts in the past. That's life. It's a roulette. Yet Thurman remains a fighter, dangerous, fantastic, and a big name in the sport. And he asked for thoughts. So yeah, man, like I said, Thurman, he is a dangerous fighter, and he is a big name, but he's also playing chess outside the octagon, outside of the boxing ring right now. So yeah, you let me know, guys, what y'all think Yordenis Ugas should do from here. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.